my sweethearts. Today I thought I would do a little video on de-stressing because I've had a lot of emails to do with anxiety, stress, people self-harming. It's been quite hard to read a lot of these messages that I've received. And then I went into town this morning, into my village, because I live on Exmoor, and it was heaving with tourists, which is lovely because, you know, I'm pleased for local shops that, you know, trade is boost. We all need it, it's all good. But some of them were right misogs with a capital M in fluorescent pen and capital letters. You know, it was just heaving. So I thought, I'm going to come back. I'm going to de-stress. Oh, by the way, just in case you're wondering what's on my finger, I opened a tin earlier today in a bit of a rush and I nearly decapitated my finger. So I am going to be demonstrating de-stressing techniques on the neck that you can do on yourself or for other people, but just make sure you don't have a great big plaster full of blood on your finger, because otherwise it might look like they've been murdered. And, well, they might not like that very much. So obviously just ignore the plaster. I'm just doing it on myself. I'll have to have a good wash afterwards. I don't know what's going on with it. Look at it. Anyway, so de-stressing. Now, the only contraindication to this, to working on the neck, is if you have cancer or have had cancer recently or are recovering from it because of the lymph. We don't want those nasty cells traveling up through the lymph and spreading everywhere else. That's the last thing we want. Also, when you get to that ridge which joins the bottom of the skull to the top of the neck, that occipital ridge it's called, if you massage there, you have to be very careful if you're pregnant, under 3 months pregnant, or if you have low blood pressure, because working there lowers the heart rate and blood pressure straight away in the body. So whilst that's really good if you're sat there with some grim examiner because your school has been one of the really wise ones to do mocks straight after COVID, and well, we're still in COVID and wondering what's going on and transitioning, and they've missed most of their academic year. Good one that, you know, I have to be careful I don't turn into a misog. Sorry. So if you're sitting there, some of these things, you know, at the exam table and it's all a bit overwhelming and you're in this exam hall, there are some techniques I can show you to do on your own neck without blood that will really help to lower your heart rate, lower your blood pressure instantly. Not only that, we've got that amazing vagus nerve, my favourite nerve of the nervous system. It's the largest nerve of the nervous system as well. It begins just at the base of the neck, either side of that hollow bit called the medulla oblongata. Please don't ask me why it's called that, where the cerebral spinal fluid collects, a little dip in your neck. So the vagus nerve starts either side of there, runs down through your heart, down into your gut, the second brain, the enteric brain, which houses the seat of meltdown, fear, all the things we bottle up, digestive issues, eating issues, elimination issues, so going to the loo or not being able to go to the loo, all these sorts of things. It used to be our first brain years ago, so it let us know if we were in danger or if we needed to protect ourselves. But it's also the seat of excitement. Now, I doubt you're feeling excited about exams unless you're a bit of a weirdo. But anyway, this will help because the vagus nerve, this is the really exciting bit, is like the telephone wire that connects the first brain to the second brain. So the information travels around. It's like a continual telephone wire where they check in with each other. Say, all right, mate. And if they're not, you'll say, no, I'm blooming not. And then the body will go into fight or flight and stress levels rise. If it's feeling all right and it says, yeah, do you know what, mate, I'm having a really good day, then the brain stays in that rest, relax, that parasympathetic state, which is what we want. So whatever you're going through, whether it's exams, bullying, a horrible situation at home, whatever it is that is causing you stress, and stress is proven to be behind 99% of all disease, you know, you can do these things on yourself to keep you in that lovely relaxed state, so you're ready to give it your best shot, because we can't do anything about, you know, 80% of what we worry about doesn't happen, as I said in last week's video. 12% of what we worry about we can't do anything about anyway, so massaging your neck is part of that 8% that is in your control. So now I'm going to show you. So my hair's looking a bit like some kind of frizzled Aslan today. I'm so sorry, it was a little bit windy in the village. So obviously I'm going to lift my hair up so you can see, but I'm using, well actually I'll show you first with my fingers, right? So you're going up the neck like this, all the way up. And as you do these circles, I'm going anti-clockwise, I'm going that way because it's easier for me, but you can go that way too, it doesn't matter. And I'm really stretching my neck. And when you work on this vagus nerve, when you work going up the neck, what you're doing is you are pushing dopamine, the hormone of concentration, focus, attention, motivation, drive, that feeling of reward. It's delicious. It's my favourite happy hormone and coping chemical. And you're pushing it up from the gut, through the vagus nerve and into the brain, flooding the brain with all that fantastic, I'm on top of the world, I've got this, I can do this. I'm getting a bit excitable. I must have pushed a bit too much dopamine up. Anyway, let's get a bit more because I've got a busy day, so I need it. And you're going all the way up to that occipital ridge. What you can also do is you can rub. So I actually use the ball of my wrist. Sometimes I do massages and I don't even use my hands. It's funny. And you're literally rotating like this in a round circle. First one side. And I'm going right under that occipital ridge. Obviously, if you've got low blood pressure, just concentrate on the neck. So first one side and then the other side. Just going like this, rotating the ball of my wrist all the way up. Do you know, it's so delicious, this. Don't forget as well, 90% of our serotonin, the hormone of happiness, confidence, self-esteem, is in the gut. So when you're working on that gut-brain axis by working on the vagus nerve, that telephone wire, you're helping to push that serotonin around as well. So it really helps you feel you can cope and function. You've got this, and you have got this because you are in charge of your brains. Whatever anybody tells you, you define you. And what goes on in your brain is up to you all your life. All your life, which is very, very exciting, I think. I've got all so nerdy, but I do love it. So there we are. Those are two things. I'm going to share with you one more because I don't want to overload you. If you just get the pads of your fingers, preferably not with blood, and you're going from either side of that hollow bit, just at the base of the neck, base of the skull, sorry, and that hollow bit in your neck, right in the middle. You don't want to go in there because it collects cerebral spinal fluid. And what you can do is just massage with your fingers like this, and you always work. So I'm just rotating, I'm giving the neck a good stretch, and you go all along that bony ridge. Now you're just underneath it, you're not on it, because in massage we don't really massage bones. It would feel a bit weird and it would be a bit pointless. So you're going in all those absolutely delicious pits and hollows underneath that occipital ridge, and that is lowering your heart rate and blood pressure. Now if you're in a situation, you could be an adult in a work meeting, you could be a teacher feeling really overwhelmed because of all the pressures, you could be a young adult or a child, a student, a learner, and you just simply put your elbows on the desk, and it's very, very discreet. It's not affecting anybody, it's not disturbing anyone, it's very, very discreet. And it's empowering you because you don't need anybody to do this for you. So you can do it anytime. If some of you flip out sometimes on public transport, or you're in a crowded place, or you're finding this transition through COVID difficult, this is a really good one to do. You can also do it with the edges of your hands, but in a ball. So you're going up like this, up, kneading. Imagine that your head's a big lump of dough, and you're just kneading up the neck, and all along that occipital ridge to that bony bit behind the ears. We've all got a really bony bit. Incidentally, if you've got a cold or sinus problems, that's actually a sinus point. So give that a little rub as well. Much better than blowing your nose every 5 minutes and sounding like an elephant or a foghorn. So just work on those sinuses as well. So it really, really helps with breathing. And breathing is massively important if we want to stay calm. Because when we go into fight or flight, our breathing speeds up. And some of us can hyperventilate and go into a panic attack. So all this work on the neck will keep you calm, collected, focused, paying attention, being productive, feeling relaxed, low blood pressure, or not low blood pressure, even blood pressure, even heart rate, and you will feel $1 million. So I hope this has helped you all. Do take care this week, everybody. Look after each other. Look after yourselves. Lots of love. See you next week. Bye-bye, darlings.